Hey guys, we decided that February was going to be all about birds. I don't know if you've seen yet, but on our Facebook page, we are going to be having a Building Better Birders workshop on Sunday, February 28th. It's a free program for all ages, and it's going to be about the feeder birds of Iowa. So if you like learning about birds, please join us. But in the meantime, here's a video that explains what makes a bird a bird. There are lots of different things that make birds different from other animals. Can you think of anything? Birds have wings. They're not the only animals that have wings, though. Bats have wings, and butterflies have wings. But let's talk about bird wings. Most birds use their wings to fly, like a parrot, and a chickadee, and a hummingbird. Hummingbirds are very fast flyers, and they can beat their wings over 50 to 200 times per second. I can't even say that in 1 second. That is super fast. But did you guys know that some birds can't fly at all? For example, an ostrich. An ostrich can't fly, but do you see their legs? They use those strong legs to run really, really fast. Chickens also can't fly, but they don't really need to. And then there's penguins. They also can't fly. Instead, they use their wings or flippers to help them swim around in the ocean. What else makes a bird a bird? Well, they lay eggs. Bird eggs come in all different sizes and colors and patterns. But again, they aren't the only ones that lay eggs. Frogs lay eggs, turtles lay eggs, and even bugs lay eggs. But let's look again at those bird eggs. Bird eggs can be all different colors. Sometimes they're bright blue, like the robin egg, or sometimes they're more dull colors so that they can camouflage in their nests. Bird eggs can also be different sizes. The egg you see on the left is from an elephant bird. Now that bird is extinct now, but their eggs were almost 13 inches long. Then beside it is an ostrich egg. That's one of the biggest eggs you can find now. It's about 6 inches tall and weighs around 5 pounds. And then that tiny little egg that you see someone holding, that's a hummingbird egg, and it's only about a 1/2 inch long. That's the smallest egg you can find. Now we know that eggs come in different sizes, but have you noticed that they're always kind of a pear shape? They're never round or circular, and the reason for that is that a pear-shaped egg settles into a nest or onto the ground easier than a round egg would. All birds lay eggs, but the amount of eggs depends on what type of bird it is. Most songbirds lay 1 egg a day until their clutch is complete, and it's usually a pretty small clutch. Like these cardinal eggs. Cardinals only lay 3 to 4 eggs each time. Inside each of these eggs, a baby bird is growing. Here's a picture of a bird embryo. The outermost layer is the eggshell, and it is made out of calcium carbonate. The eggshells provide calcium to the embryos growing inside, and the eggshell gets thinner and thinner as the baby bird grows so that it can easily hatch when it's ready. The calcium carbonate in eggshells makes them very strong. It takes lots of pressure to break an egg. For example, it takes about 26 pounds of pressure to break a swan egg. So we've talked about wings and we've talked about eggs. But what else makes a bird a bird? Well, where do they lay those eggs? They lay them in nests. Birds use lots of different materials to make their nests. Some of these things might be twigs or branches, grass, leaves, moss, pine needles, cattail fluff, rocks, mud, yarn, or really anything that they can find to use to make their nest. But just like eggs, nests can come in all different sizes. Here is a bald eagle nest. It is about 4 to 5 feet across and about 4 feet deep. But then here's a hummingbird nest. It's only about 2 inches across. So nests come in all different sizes, from really big to super small. And some nests can be a little unusual compared to what we're used to. This bird is a sociable weaver bird. And when I say sociable, that means that it lives in a colony. Because they live in a colony, they build nests for all the birds, not just one bird. So sometimes that can take over a whole tree. Then here is an edible nest swiftlet. Do you know what that nest is made out of? Yeah, that's their spit. And you want to know what's even weirder? It's actually a delicacy in some countries to eat that nest. Ugh. Then here is a bush tit. It uses moss to make its nest. Have you guys ever seen a nest made out of moss? Next is a bio-weaver bird. They use grass to weave these very cool hanging nests. They also live in colonies, so they build lots of nests around each other. And finally, we have a bowerbird. They build these kind of funny looking nests to attract females. And another cool thing about these birds, they really like the color blue. So they will find anything blue that they can and put it around their nest to attract a female. Not only are some nests unusual, sometimes they're in unusual places. Sometimes they can be in a lantern, in a boot, on a car, or even in a teapot. Really, birds will make a nest anywhere that they can find a place to do it. Now let's move on. Can you guys think of anything else that birds have that makes them different from other animals? How about beaks? Birds have different shaped beaks based on what they eat or what they use the beak for. So we're going to look at some beaks and see what they use them for. First, we have an egret. Egrets have a spear-type beak. They're super long and sharp so that they can poke into the water and grab fish out of there. I like to compare that to a letter opener. It's kind of long and sharp like an egret's beak. Then we have a hawk. It has a curved and sharp and powerful beak. We like to call it a predator beak. They like to eat meat, so their beak is kind of like scissors. They can cut and tear through the meat with their beak. Next is a woodpecker. A woodpecker has a pointed beak for cutting and boring holes. We like to call this a chisel beak. It's kind of like tweezers, where they can reach into a little tiny hole and grab little bugs out to eat. Then there's the pelican. Pelican has a very cool beak where it allows them to scoop food up out of the water, like fish. So we call this a scoop beak, kind of like a bucket. Can you guys guess who this next beak belongs to? It's a duck, and they have a beak kind of like a strainer. So they can scoop their food up in their mouth and strain the water out while the food stays in their mouth. And finally, we have a cardinal. Cardinals like to eat seeds, so they have a very strong beak that helps them break the hard shells of the seeds, kind of like a nutcracker. So we call this a cracker beak. We're still missing one more thing that makes a bird a bird. Can you think of it? It's feathers. Birds are the only animals on Earth that have feathers. So if you find an animal and it has feathers, you know it's a bird. Feathers can come in all different colors and shapes and patterns, but each one has a purpose. Let's look at a down feather. Down feathers are very, very fluffy and keep the bird nice and warm, like on this little owl. Baby birds are covered in down to start out with, then grow their other feathers, but every single bird has a layer of down feathers on their body. Next, we have flight feathers. These are usually long and stiff feathers, and as you can see from this eagle, they're found on the wings and the tail. These long, stiff feathers help the birds fly. Then we have the contour feathers. These feathers are found all over birds' bodies, and they are the ones that give the birds its color and pattern. As you can see from this pheasant, they can be all different colors, they can have different patterns on them, but they give each bird its own unique look. Let's look at some cool contour feathers. Here is a hummingbird that has bright colors. It has pink and blue and green, and it's very pretty. Then we have a peacock. Peacocks have a very intricate pattern on their feathers to help attract females. Some contour feathers change colors in the sun like this grackle, and some have a dull colored pattern to help animals camouflage like this owl. Hopefully you've learned something new about birds today, but remember, they have wings, they lay eggs, they make nests, and they have beaks, but every single bird that you find are going to have feathers. So this video is just an overview of what makes a bird, but join us in the next couple weeks to learn more about birds and make some cool bird theme crafts. See you guys.